And we are on, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome back to the Caiman Show. Today, I have a very important guest for you, a very special guest for you, a friend of mine. He is a producer, he is an actor, he is a writer, he was a musician, he is a multi-film award winner. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a legend. He is an ambassador of my hometown, Merthyr Tydfil. I give you, if you cut him in half, he will say Merthyr Tydfil, just like in them little sticker rocks on the inside there. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you my friend and yours, Jonny Owen. Jonny, welcome aboard. Good to see you, my friend.
It's lovely to be here, Caiman. And I got to say, that's the nicest introduction I've ever had to any one of these things I've done. So thank you very much.
Hey, well, man, you know, heartfelt and the check is cleared. So it's good.
Yes. I'm not just a Merthyr boy, I was going to say, an Heolgerrig boy as well.
A Heolgerrig boy as well. Well, actually, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Heolgerrig as well.
Okay.
Because obviously, you're a Heolgerrig boy, I'm a Heolgerrig boy. So right. There's a couple of things I wanted to bring to your attention just to see, just a little game, just a little icebreaker for us, really, before we get started into the nitty-gritty. Okay. I just want to see if you remember any of these little landmarks, right? And if you do, tell me what your memories are. Perhaps you can share some memories of these, all right?
That's right, don't I?
So I'm just going to fire them at you. Tell me if you remember any of them. These are all Heolgerrig landmarks, many of which popped up on our group that myself and our late friend Ryan McCarthy created a few years ago, you know. If you were raised in Heolgerrig in the 1980s, maybe you'll remember some of these. So I'm going to fire some at you anyway. So do you remember the Scram?
I certainly do. I rode around the Scram on my BMX many a time. It was a cycle track that was brilliantly done, actually. It had some fantastic little dips and jumps and all the rest of it. And you'd sometimes go up there and it would be like, without exaggeration, you remember 20, 30 kids on bike. It was a fantastic place. It was almost like a cycling park done before its time by the kids.
Totally. You'd often see myself and Brent Parry lighting a fire in the middle of the Scram then as well, with all the burnt off conifers. Brilliant. His mother used to give us newspapers. Great. And in the Scram, we also had the wind tunnel. Do you remember that?
Remember it very well indeed, the wind tunnel. And when you were, because you were a little bit younger than me, you'd all scamper around, and if you were like cycling it up, you had to be careful, it didn't run somebody over because that. I remember it very well.
Yeah, I got run over a few times. I don't think you had me though. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Obviously, so if you remember the Scram, you're going to remember the scrapyard.
I do remember the scrapyard. Yeah, now the scrapyard, a bit like the film Stand By Me, before Stand By Me was filmed, had a legendary guard dog, apparently. People walking past. I don't know if it was ever seen. I don't know if it bit anybody, but the legends were that it bit a child's head off from Carmel, so you had to be really careful.
Yeah,
that was never proven. But if the idea was that, or the legend was, as you know, that it had the most fearsome dog there. So you'd run past as quickly as you could, or cycle past as quickly as you would.
Totally. I remember that dog. There were a couple of dogs there. The big dogs, should we call them, were chained up, all right? So they were going to get out. But there was this, I say mediocre dog, but I remember it being like kind of like horse size, to be honest, to me when I was a child, you know? I'd ride past on my motorbike down the side of the Scram towards the next landmark, which I'll name in a moment, towards our motorcycle track down there. And this dog would chase you, and there was a stream there you had to get through as well. And getting through it, I was with Gareth Marshall one day. We were going through this stream, and Gareth sort of stalled in the stream, and I had to stop, and I could just hear roar, roar, roar behind me. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna get eaten alive!" So the myth is true. It was a hideous guard dog. It didn't quite bite me. Thankfully, Marshy started his bike back up and headed on towards the next landmark. You know, but
so the scrappy. We could get sometimes you could get a chase from them as well. Sometimes if you start the bank. It was quite late and you make a bit of a noise, somebody'd come flying up and you all scampered off.
That's right. Well, me and Thomas Rees, you know Tucker? Yeah? Me and Thomas Rees, we were there one day. We were chucking like boulders at the roof of the house from the Scram. We do apologise if the gentleman's listening now. I don't even know if our house is still there. Or if it caved in because all the boulders on the roof. But we had a chase. We had a few chases.
Yeah. And nobody ever got caught, but the thrill of being chased. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It was brutal. We didn't get caught. He probably would have killed us.
Yeah, let the dog on us.
Yeah, who let the dogs out? The ducky. Do you remember the ducky?
I do remember the ducky. The ducky would have been like the Scram on steroids. It was like turbo Scram, so it was bigger dips, and the wind tunnel was proper there. And the danger there was, and I'll make you laugh here, there could be Swansea Road boys there.
Yes. Roaders, as we used to call them.
Roaders. You have to be careful because they used to call us Heolgerrig boys.
That's it.
Heolgerrig. And if you were seen by, especially if you're on your own, you have to be really careful. And one night, I always remember, I got caught there on my own.
Oh, no.
They had my bike and they put the really big, steep wall of death.
Yeah, the wall of death. I was coming to that, you spoiled sport.
So they sent my bike on its own over the wall of death, and I went scampering after it, sort of like, and I cycled off home, chastised, and also like I'd learned a lesson: don't get caught down the ducky on your own by Swansea Road or Roaders.
Roaders, no, that's a life lesson there in itself. Yeah. I learned a life lesson as well. Same venue, the wall of death. I thought to myself one day, I'm on my 125 motorcycle. I thought, oh, the wall of death. Everyone says it's cool to ride up there. So I start riding up, and then I change my mind halfway up. And the worst thing I could possibly do in that situation is ease off the throttle. Yeah. Yeah. So I eased off the throttle, and I just kind of tipped backwards, bike and all. Bike went scattering down. I don't know how I rode it home after. The handlebars were all over the shop. But that was a life lesson in itself as well.
The wall of death, you got to commit. Once you commit,
absolutely.
You're in. Like that's it.
John, commitment is key. As is with most things in life. What else have I got for you? We're digging deep here now. The wine. You remember the wine? Yeah.
Obviously, the wine. We're talking pure Heolgerrig here.
That's it.
So I'm from Andrews Close. So I was school side of the main road.
Right.
You were Shirley Gardens that side. That's fine.
That's right.
So we used to tend to go to the wine first. The wine swing and all that was a big congregation point. We used to play football on the school field, as we used to call it, which was attached to the school. And then the wine was the big area. And he used to have a sign. I don't know if you're quite old enough to remember. You might do, but the first sign you'd pass when you'd pass Gethin's house on the left, when you go the gate, Gethin Griffiths, the first sign you'd see is "Beware of abandoned mine shafts."
Yeah, I have seen that. There's still a couple of them scattered around,
Yeah.
And there is actually more near towards the end of Spark side as you dip further down. Right. There's a big gap like that.
That's right, yeah. There was one.
Someone's dog got stuck down there before. Yeah.
There was the farm that was there, Cum Farm or whatever they call it. I can't remember what it was called, Cum Coed. Anyway, that was an old pit. That was an old mine there, wasn't it? And that you should see the shape of the slag tips, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It was a great place to play as a kid to do the ferns and all.
Fantastic, you had everything. So up near the wine then, there was, and this one, I'm digging deeper again now, John, the Green Door Den.
Yes, I do, which was old. It was almost like an old bit of industrial, like an iron rusty door that had gone mossy, isn't it? Basically.
That's right, yeah. Just up in the woods on the hill there, yeah?
That's it. Yeah, I remember that as well.
Myself and Ryan McCarthy went in search for the Green Door Den, obviously a few years ago, because God bless him, he's passed now. But we could not find it for love nor money.
Could you not?
No, and we also searched for, I don't know if you remember this one either, the name tree.
The name tree?
Yeah, no, it was a tree somewhere up the wine with loads of names dating back, I don't know, before my time. With loads of names scraped into it was. You don't remember that one, do you?
Was that even near the swing? Because if you go first, so basically you go first when we took past Gethin's house, used to take you straight into the forestry.
Yeah.
And the second way to get in the style by the school would take you to the wine swing, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And then it was down that route somewhere it was, But we could not find it for love nor money either. No, neither of them.
You ever go to Cumglaw? Did you find Cumglaw, the old ruins of the church?
No, I didn't, but I did look for that again recently as well, because I didn't know about it as a kid. But recently, I was walking, back when I had the dogs, I was walking up the top, like right up the top, up that hill which takes you over to Aberdeen. Yeah. And an elderly gentleman was there. He was telling me about it. He had walked there and everything. He'd been on an all-day trek or whatever. And I was like, oh, where is it? He tried to explain, but again, for love nor money, nah. Sat nav.
What they've done here, Caiman, is they've basically, this is about 20 years ago, because it was basically, I think it was like a Protestant church when the country was Catholic, and they used to pray there secretly, they found the foundations, and they rebuilt the foundations up about a foot high, so you could see the shape of the church.
Right, okay.
There was a plaque there, so we seen that as kids. So you'd go there, and that was Cumglaw. Heolgerrig, there were witches in Cumglaw.
Right, oh.
And I think that was attached to, because of when Catholicism and Protestantism was vying to become the major religion, either side would accuse the other of witchcraft.
Yeah.
So I actually think that went way, way back. Like, do you know what I mean? So even my old man and my grandfather would say, like, oh, you be careful, there's witches. Yeah. When you're like 8 years of age and you're getting like, witches?
Yeah.
Don't be anywhere near there when it starts getting dark.
That's it, isn't it? Freak right out.
Yeah,
also in the wine, apparently, I don't know how true this was back in the day, but it was rife with devil worshippers. Yes. I never saw one, but was there any truth to that, you know?
Yeah, that's where they used to go, apparently, come glow.
Was it?
And, yeah, and do you know what, right? I got a true story here, but this is more of a Merthyr thing.
Yeah.
So I was in the coolers one night. This is about 1989. I used to have a little mini metro, right?
Yeah.
Me and a lad started talking to two girls, and they were from Dowless way. So they were like, oh, do you want to come back and have a bit of a party? We were like, yeah, usual thing. So I was driving up the slip road, the old slip road, and as I'm driving up the bridge where the old Dowless ironworks were, there was still a bridge that I went across where they used to dump off all the slag and stuff from the ironworks. I could see little lights. I'll never forget it. And I looked and I thought, and as I got near the bridge, I almost ducked. I could see people walking with candles, right?
Jeez. So what time of night was this?
This is about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. So I turned to these girls, I go, did you see that? And obviously everybody in the car sees it. And one of them goes, yeah, there's been a bit in the Merthyr Express. There's some kind of satanic worshipping going on around the Merthyr area. And there they were.
Bloody hell.
Walking over the slip road. 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, so nothing, nothing unusual there, is there? You know?
Oh, exactly.
Who's going to say anything about
that? Well, these stories, what I love about them, Caiman, as you do, they've always got roots and basis in something. I love, do you know what I mean? They passed up generation to generation.
That's it. And they always tend to grow a little more each generation, you know?
Yeah. Like the dogs in the scrapyard.
Yeah, it's bigger and bigger every generation, you know? Oh, so if they're still there now, like that. What about the White Lady? Did you ever get spooked by the White Lady? What do you remember about her?
She was attached to the pond. Do you know the pond which was by Shirley Gardens, and he went up the main road and he went to the right? There's a house there now, isn't there?
Yeah, I know.
That used to be like a pond.
That's right, and they had some stables just behind it, yeah?
That's it. And so apparently the story goes there. And we were looking at this on the page used to have, and people started saying, directing us to blogs, which had evidence of it. And apparently it was to do with a young girl whose lover either left her at the altar or died, and she threw it in the pond and drowned herself, and she was the White Lady, apparently.
Right,
so
okay.
It came from somewhere. And somebody popped up even saying, oh, she was distantly related to my auntie or something. It's a true story.
Yeah, that was on the page, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right, I remember that. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, that's fascinating, man, isn't it, you know?
There's a bit of truth in that. But yeah, the White Lady was... And again, what used to happen was, because the summers were great as a kid being Heolgerrig, I loved them. So
fantastic.
But when it started getting a bit dark, that's when the stories had come out. And if you were a little bit of a distance from home, as you'd be, say you lived up, in Salisbury close, or Andrews close, if you were a good 15-minute walk or a 10-minute run, and it was getting dark, you had to get your skates on. But I noticed that when I go home now. When it gets dark in Heolgerrig, it still gets dark. It's brilliant.
It does. Pitch black.
And quiet. I forgot about the quiet there. There's no noise. There's no main roads or anything going around it. It's just quiet.
Yeah, so almost eerily quiet.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're a kid, that darkness and quiet, you're like, I need to get home as soon as I can. Yeah, so I remember it.
Yeah, she's still lurking, apparently. She's, she's massive now, though, John, you know? What else we got? Do you remember the donkey fart maze?
I do.
Did you ever go through it?
I did, yeah. And what was amazing about that place was the complexity of the labyrinth of tunnels was so impressive.
It was mental.
It had been done over generations, but you could literally go on what seemed as a kid for miles.
I know.
But it was all tunnels, and they'd been made out by kids over the years. And so when I used to go down there, you could get pretty lost in there.
Yeah.
Always a dirty mag in the middle of the bike.
Yeah.
Every time in the donkey fart bushes. And they used to call them nudie mags. That was
That's right. Yeah.
There's a nudie mag in there, and you'd obviously go in there and be like 7 looking, what's that?
Which direction on the compass do we take for this donkey mag, boys?
Exactly, yeah. Leaving completely confused by it. I mean, what's all that about? But yeah, they were brilliant. They were, and like I say, I love the fact that over generations, Heolgerrig kids had created tunnels that would impress the most, even the Jersey tunnels.
Absolutely.
They have nothing on the Heolgerrig.
It was amazing. I remember I'd be going through there though. And then, me and my group of lads, the Salisbury Closers, we'll call them, we'd be going through, and then we'd bump into another group of guys halfway through coming out, what I mean? It's like, all right, boys, where have you been? What's down our way then?
Yeah, a nudie mag. All right, yeah.
Hey, a razzle, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, happy days. Oh, yeah. Nice, man. I'm glad you remembered pretty much all of them, to be honest. One more I had, old Mr. Thomas. Do you remember old Mr. Thomas from the post office? Yes.
You know what was great about him, right? I tell a story. You've all had it. My mother, like everybody's mother, used to do stuff on the bill. They used to call it. So basically, what that means is she used to go in at the end of the week and pay off the bill. Yeah. And what you do is, in the store, ridiculously, she'd go, right, nip down and give me a packet of bennies, right?
Yeah.
You'd go in at 6 and you'd go, Mr. Thomas, can I have a packet of bennies and edges? And he'd go, yeah. And he'd give you them and you'd take home to your mother. But what used to be brilliant was every so often you'd pluck up a card, you'd go and you go, can I have a Pepsi? And he'd go, okay. And he'd go, can I put it on the bill? Does your mother know? And he'd be like, yeah. So at the end of the week then, she'd be signing the bill and she'd go, do you got a Pepsi? I'd be like, no. And she'd be like, she said you had a Pepsi. I was like, oh, I can't remember. But you'd like try to put stuff on the bill.
That's it.
And it was a proper village community shop. And he famously did an article in the Merthyr Express. It was a lovely article about him. And he basically said that he knows everybody in Heolgerrig. And I believe he did.
Yeah.
He'd go in there and he'd go, hello, Jonathan. I was calling my full name back in Merthyr, my mother. Hello, Jonathan. And your brother Matthew and Christopher. He knew us all. So it had a beautiful, familiar sort of community feel. You could go in there anytime and everybody knew who you were,
Definitely. It was lovely. It was. And then you had young Mr. Thomas as well. It's a great family, man. They were. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Community is the key word. Solid community people you need in every town and village. Just friendly, lovely, open. Do you remember the big giant meat silver grinder sort of thing there, where they put the meat through? You might be a bit too young. No, I got it. Oh, yeah. There's sort of on the right as you go in, I think. I want to say, yeah.
A slice of ham. So you go, my mother wants 2 slices of ham, and he'd give this big.
Yeah.
And his ham would come off, and he'd pass. We sound like as if we're from the Dickens.
I know, man. I know. Yeah, I remember though. He'd be like,
and he was amazing. How's your father, Brian? Yeah, he's good. And your grandfather, Gwyn? Yeah, he's good. And your mother, well, it was like as if he had memory that he knew.
Absolutely. Brilliant people, man.
Yeah, they were.
Heolgerrig was a fantastic place to grow up. It was brilliant. You had everything. Whichever end you lived in, you had something behind you. The fields, the ponds, the forestry. It was all there. It was brilliant, man. Brilliant.
And the best pub in the world, as I always tell everybody.
Red Lion.
Red Lion. They always go to me, what's the best pub in the world? I always go, the Red Lion, Merthyr Tydfil. And whenever they ever say to me, what's the best nightclub you've ever been to, without even the cooler Merthyr Tydfil. Because I always got a theory. The first nightclubs you start going to when you're 18 will always be a favourite nightclub because you're 18.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. I think I was about 14 or 15 when I snuck into coolers, first of all, I was,
You did, yeah. You looked
I put my game face on, I was like, I got in. Some weeks, anyway.
I know. I love them. I love the Red Line. I still go there now whenever I can. It's
brilliant.
Great.
Yeah, I haven't been there for a while. I think the last time I went there was when I was working with Matthew Gould, who's now running the post office,
Yes, he is, which is lovely because that's a lovely idea that, and his wife is an Heolgerrig girl as well. So it's really sweet that he stayed in the village and the people
keep it in the community. Yeah.
Absolutely. Great.
Brilliant stuff, man. Brilliant. I had a couple of people from Merthyr on as well, and a couple of people linked into Merthyr. I did have a band of Homegrown on a little while ago.
Oh, yeah.
They know you. They spoke very highly of you, the boys did. I had Andy on, and Dan as well. Oh, I'm glad I remembered that. Then that could have been embarrassing. Shout out to Andy and Dan.
No, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Thomas. I mean, you got to know their names.
Absolutely. The computer's had a few knocks on the head. This one. Have I been dropped on him more times than I can remember? Yeah. But yeah, they came on. They spoke highly of you, and it was because of you and your manager, I believe, that they got to shoot their video then, 10,000 in Merthyr. Yeah. And they used footage from Merthyr Atlanta, which I was at, by the way. Were you at that game back in the day?
Yeah, I think everybody in the town there because the crowd was about 11,000.
Yeah.
Merthyr population is 1 in 5 of the town. It's like that would like in London, if 1 in 5 people went to the stadium, it'd be like 1 million there. Well, 2 million there.
Yeah.
But Merthyr, everybody who could went to that game. It's astonishing, really.
Absolutely.
I would love to find out in football history if a percentage of a town went to a stadium, how much is the percentage? If anybody's ever got close to that in football history, everybody was there.
Absolutely, everyone. It was like a social gathering. It was a social gathering, you know. It was like, hiya Ted, hiya Bill, hiya John, hiya Mick, etc. You know. But yeah, I remember it. What was it? 89 was it?
87.
87 was it? Yeah. So yeah, it was still been in primary school then. So yeah, good crack, man. Good crack.
Good man.
The homegrown said as well. They wrote this song about when they played in Merthyr, because they played early on Merthyr Rising on the Sunday when everyone had a stinking hangover and there was hardly anyone there. So they wrote the song called 10,000 in Merthyr. They played the 10,000 in Merthyr in their minds. And then when they were shooting the video, they found out the capacity for Merthyr Football Club is 10,000. And there were 10,000 approximately, maybe 11, you just said, at the Merthyr Atalanta game as well. So it was like, oh, wow, all these little links here. Fantastic, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that was the official capacity, but I think... That would have been like, the game. When you
go on. All right, go on, Ted.
Yeah. Go on, just slip us a
in you go.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff, man. So you've done loads, right? One of my earliest memories, I knew a gentleman, Christian, I believe his name was, one of your co-workers back then, the Pocket Devils.
Yeah.
Tell me all about your time in the Pocket Devils. Tell me how that came about. Were you the bass player?
I was,
Singer as well?
Bass player, so co-singer with Cher singing duties. We were like obsessive Beatles fans, so I still am really. Do you know what I mean? So we try to model ourselves on that, not as successfully as them, obviously. But
you did okay though, didn't you? You did quite well.
We got signed, you know, we got a deal, we got in the top 70 in the charts.
That's awesome accomplishment, man.
Yeah, we never quite cracked the top 40, which you've got to do really. You've got to get on top of the pops.
Yeah.
But we supported some really good big bands. Obviously, we played with like the Stereophonics and all those kind of people. But we've played with In Excess when they were huge, you know.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and that was amazing. And then, you know, we were like signed and published, you know, with we were signed by Sanctuary, who were Paul Weller's label at the time. So it was brilliant, you know. And I had this was the early days of Britpop. I had enough money for my publishing deal to put a little deposit down on a house. And I bought a lovely guitar, which I've still got, a Rickenbacker, toured. It was a great time, and I was with Christian, who you know, Christian Farrell, Darren Hamer on drums, you know, Glenn Hyde on guitar, Paul Kinsey, you know, just a good bunch of lads. We were all young. I was I grew up in Heolgerrig. I was obsessed with Paul Weller, and like him, I was a 60s freak. So I really got into all that kind of stuff. And then like happens in life, you kind of find the people who are into the same things as you as you get in your late teens. So you kind of gravitate towards each other. And I gravitated towards those lads, and we formed a band, and we were very lucky in the sense that, you know, Britpop hit, which had a very 60s-ish feel, you know, and then a lot of Welsh bands were getting signed. A scene at the time they called Cool Cymru. So there was a good spotlight on the area. So we kind of like rode that a little bit, if I'm honest. But yeah, we did all right, and I was really glad I did it. And that led on to other things because, you know, you'd probably be a next question. But just as I was sort of like getting to my mid-20s on that and thinking, I've got to get a hit soon, and I don't know if it's going to continue this, they decided to film a TV series in Merthyr called Nuts and Bolts.
You called it.
Yeah. Which is remarkable, really, because it's never been done before or since. But ITV Wales sort of camped up in Merthyr for a few years and said, we're going to do a TV series here. And the casting director, a guy called Anthony Thomas, who was lovely, he's seen me in the band, funnily enough, and there was a character in the series who was in a band.
Yeah.
And he said to me, look, do you fancy doing some screen tests? And I was a bit like, all right, you know, I hadn't done anything. I don't think I'd done anything since Heolgerrig primary school, where I played a Pearly King.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll go have some screen tests, and then I got the part, and that set me on the road to that. Then really, so it's amazing how sometimes, I suppose, as they say, things can align in your life, and one thing leads to something else. But I did that for a few years, and even to this day, when I go back to Merthyr, people still remember me for that.
Yeah, totally, man, totally. That was brilliant. It was an awesome series. It was cool for the people of Merthyr to turn on the TVs and just, you know, there were loads of people. I knew my buddy Dean Kwan as well. Yeah, with Quinny on that. It was fantastic. It was quality. How long did it run for, John?
I ran for 4 years.
It was 4 years, was it?
Yeah, but what happened with it was really interesting. So again, it shows my age now. There was only 4 channels then. Channel 5 was only just launching. So there was only 4 channels, nothing like it. So when we used to be on, it used to get like 60% audience shares. It was ridiculous. There'd be like 1 million people watching it. So you got known really, really quickly across, all of Wales. So I can remember the morning after the first one going for petrol, and it took me about 20 minutes because people would say, "Oh, you're on TV last night." I was like, yeah. So it was like an instant kind of fame in that sense. People knew who you were. And obviously in Merthyr, everybody watched in Merthyr because they wanted to recognise places.
That's it,
filming and stuff like that. But no, what's really interesting about it now is it had a posh family, then a poshish family, a nice family, a rough family, and a mental family. So and we had complaints then, this is pre-Shameless and all that, because we showed the rough family, and that was a bad portrayal of Merthyr. So you were like, but we've got this posh family as well, and we've got these people and that. So, it's only just one part of it. But in those days, they were like, yeah, but that's not showing Merthyr in its true light. But that was what it was like then. But it was massively successful with audience figures. And so after the first year, they commissioned 4 years of it altogether. So, but it was, I met some great people. And some people who started now did really well, like Eve Miles.
That's right.
Well, Roger Evans has gone on to do really well. So there was people in it who have gone on to do really good stuff, and we all started on that together. Everyone was first job.
Brilliant, man. Hey, you haven't done bad yourself, though, John. Come on.
Yeah. Like I say, that was the first real foothold I got into sort of like making a career in media, because from that other things followed. You got like an agent, and you got auditions, and you got other parts and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's of all the jobs I've ever done, that's the one I look back on with the most nostalgia, that I really enjoyed, because I was filming in Merthyr. I was in Merthyr. The cast were lovely. I was young. It always seemed to be sunny, which was remarkable.
Oh, wicked.
Because we filmed in the summer, and it was just a great time, and I was really proud of the fact that Merthyr was on a prime time show on ITV Wales. Do you know what I mean? I really liked it.
Fantastic stuff. What were some of the venues? The Zone was one, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Zone.
I remember watching it. Oh my god! About 3 or 4 years ago, I got chucked down them steps. I remember that. Yeah, that's my face print on that door.
My house was in just off the parade, and a house in the parade. That's where we used to film. Yeah. One house was in Kevin Coyd, and the unit base was up near where on the Goat Mill Road.
Was it? Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was down in Pendrabach for the first 2 years, and then the Goat Mill Road for the second 2 years. So there was 2 ways that it went. And they'd take over like an industrial unit, and they'd have all the props in there and all the costumes and all everything he did, and the unit base and the green room and all that was down there. And it was in Merthyr. It was great.
Brilliant,
so I lived down in Cardiff then, but I used to use it as a great excuse to just go out in the town. So I'd go, I'm staying up for a few days, so I'd be out all the time. It was like an holiday. It was brilliant.
And after my own heart.
Yes.
Fantastic stuff. So
go to the red.
Red lion every time.
Yeah, exactly.
So what was your next job after that? So nuts and bolts finished.
Well, what happened then was I got obviously other parts and things, so I managed to get more acting work all the time off the back of that, because it's kind of like a chicken and the egg situation. You get a part, and then you get an agent, and then the agent gets you more parts. So you need them both. But what happened to me was, again, a bit of luck, really. The head of ITV Wales Sport knew that I was football mad. So he asked me to come in.
Never noticed.
No, I know, yeah. So he asked me to come in for a chat, and we got on really well. And he said, look, would you be interested in doing some stuff for me football-wise, Soccer Sunday, and doing some presenting and doing a bit of journalism on there, and, putting the tapes together? And I was like, absolutely. It's like a bit of a dream. So I started doing that as well. So I was acting, and I was also doing like the presenting stuff. And then once I went to ITV Wales, I got stuff like doing voiceovers. I used to do lots of stuff for the Beeb as well. And I was doing some docs as well, because they found out I had a degree and an interest in history. So they said, would you fancy working in that department? So I started doing lots of different things, which I loved. So it was a great time. I was there for nearly 10 years in ITV Wales, just working every day on different things. It could be a history department, and it could be this football show, and then I could go up and act on Nuts and Bolts. So I like that. I like being able to do lots of different things at the same time. And it was just a great time, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, talking of documentaries, you've done one on the Aberfan disaster, something very close to all our hearts, didn't you? You were involved in that. Yeah. Didn't that win an award as well? Yeah,
that won the Welsh BAFTA. It won the Gwynalf Williams Welsh BAFTA, and he was a very
fantastic
Merthyr historian, which I was really proud of. Nobody's seen that video, so there it is.
Oh, wow, there it is. There it is, guys, right there on the Caiman show. That's awesome, John.
And there's Vicky's for This Is England.
Hey, fantastic stuff. Quality, man, quality.
Yeah. So I did that. And what happened with that was they were brilliant at TV Wales. They asked me to get involved in it because I was a Merthyr boy, and obviously I was very aware of the documentary. But my father, you see, was an electrician in the pit.
Yeah.
Which was joined to Merthyr Vale Underground. So the Aberfan pit was Merthyr Vale, as we all know. And that was linked underground to Trelewis. So he was working there. So what they did was, when the accident, the disaster happened, they didn't pull the miners up from the Merthyr Vale straight away because they knew they were the fathers of the kids. They didn't want to panic them.
No, totally.
They got the miners out from the other part of the pit, and my father was one of them. So my father was one of the first people there.
I was remember
him saying to me, they told us a wall had collapsed, and he said, when I seen it, I realised the whole mountain had come down. So he said, and then he was in the footage, which was remarkable. So I was going through the footage, and there was my dad. And I was like, oh, my father. So that got a very personal link. And then, of course, you're just a bit too young to remember. The old headmaster of Heolgerrig Primary School when I was there was a guy called Mr. Tudor.
Right, yeah.
He lost his son in the Aberfan disaster, which is horrendous, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lovely, lovely man. He was a fantastic headmaster. I mean, honestly, this guy, he was unbelievable. He was a lovely, lovely guy. And he was still alive then. He's passed away, bless him now. But I got in touch with him and said, look, I've been asked to do this. What do you think? And he was like, you've got to do it. Me and a woman called Judith Davis, a really talented producer at ITV Wales, lovely woman. He was like, you've got to do this because you're a Merthyr boy, I was like, okay. So I did it, and I tried to do it as respectfully as I possibly could, because obviously the people from Aberfan and all the rest of it. So I had personal ties to it. And then obviously when it did really well and it won the BAFTA, I was really chuffed. And he was the first person, him and his wife, to ring me the next day.
Awesome. Fantastic, man. What a thrill.
You're going, I'm really proud of you and thank you for doing it. So that was a lovely moment, that was,
That's awesome, man. Awesome. Fantastic. Talking of your old man as well, I hope you don't mind me saying, right? I felt like I knew your old man, even though I never met him.
Yeah.
Your little blogs on Facebook, right, would crease me, okay? I'll just be right. I was talking to my old man, right? And this is how it went. And then I just read that first line and then bang, I'm hooked. So many stories. The relationship that you and he had blatantly was a bond. Just
he was great. I mean,
anything,
I just do that. It's amazing, really. I write a column for the Times now, the Sunday Times, and I mentioned my dad the other week, and I told the story because it's 4 years since he passed away, and they said they had the most responses to anything that was written that weekend because people would. And all I did was I explained what he was like. He was from a different generation because he'd been a miner, electrician, and steelworks, and the water board. And he was in Heolgerrig. He was a penny hard boy, but he lived in Heolgerrig for 20, 30 years in the end, well, 40 years. But he was funny because I always felt that he loved me, right? I was his son, of course. But I slightly irritated him because I was from a different generation.
I can relate to that.
So when I ring him, he was slightly confused by me. So if I'd ring him, I'd go, hello, and he'd go, hello, and I go, hi, Dad, it's me, and he go, I know it's you. I go, is Mum there? He go, no, it's not you. But listen, he said, the chase is on, so I can't speak now. And I go, that'll be the conversation. And that was him, that was the way he talked to me, and he was great. What I realised with his passing is, and I think, I don't know if this is because he's died, but probably because he gave me so many good tips and advice on life that I didn't realise till I got older.
You do though, then, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, just ridiculously daft stuff. I know it's stupid, but stuff like the other day, for the first time I bought wool socks for the winter, and they stay warm, right? And they're also waterproof because wool has to be waterproof.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And he used to tell me, because I used to do that classic thing where I can buy 5 socks in the market, 5 pairs in the market for £2, and he go, don't get them, get yourself a decent bit of wool socks, you'd be better off. And now, as I've got older, I'm going to get wool socks.
He was absolutely right. Yeah.
Good shoes. He said, get decent shoes. Don't wear trainers too much because, your back and stuff. And, I had a few problems with my back a few years back. And I remember the daughter said to me, you wear trainers and, you're getting a bit older. Buy a decent pair of, Dr. Martens. And I was like, okay. And my back is better. And these are little bits of advice. He was really good on cleanliness. He'd go make sure you shower every day. And you're really young. I go, all right. Thinking, what's he talking about? And then he'd go like, when you go to work, make sure you look smart and make sure you can make a cup of tea for everybody, a decent cup of tea. And it really is important, those things.
It is. These things go a long way.
Yeah, they do. So those things I remember, and I write about them, and people relate and go, yes, that's so true. My mother and my father say that to me, and I think that's what they give to you when you carry on, and that's why I try to mention them, because I hope that people recognise something of their relationship with their parents as well.
100%. I can so relate to mine, definitely. It's always, like you said, that little bit of awkwardness, because I'm very different to my parents, all right? They're lovely. Yeah. They are very lovely, but I am me, okay? Let's just say that. I am me, they are them. And, we have totally different lifestyles, totally different wardrobe choices, with different people. They like to keep themselves to themselves and just get on with it, and I just do crazy stuff. I don't know. But
I worked in Hoover when I first left school, and my old man was over the moon with his job, because it was an office job as well, a computer boy.
Yeah.
He was, he'd be down the Heolgerrig club, sitting with all, Howard and Frankie and all the old fellas. And they'd be as well, how's he doing? He's down in Hoover's, got a computer job. Best thing. When I left that, the band, can you imagine saying to a bloke who'd been underground, I'm leaving Hoover's, the best job in your world, to go and be in a band.
To chase a dream, yeah.
No, don't, So he spent the rest of his life going, he should have stayed in Hoover's. And it became a running joke in the family. And my brother did one thing when he died, he in his funeral, he went, my father always goes, should have stayed in Hoover's. And he said he got to the point where they'd say Johnny's, his DVDs, or it's just sold 100,000 DVDs, or it's taken £1 million box office. Literally, and my old man would go, should have stayed in Hoover's. That became like a family joke. I never ever got to that peak with him ever again, Caiman. That's like,
man, fantastic. No, like I said, John, I always loved reading his stories about him. Great talking about him now, man. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
Going on in your acting career then, so after Nuts and Bolts, we moved on. You did a bit, you worked with James Nesbitt?
I did, yeah. I did Murphy's Law.
Murphy's Law?
Yeah.
I was going to ask, how was that, and what was it like working with James?
He was great. We got on really well. He's a kind of a working class boy from Northern Ireland, so he instantly came over and introduced himself and blah blah. And yeah, he was lovely, and he made me really feel really welcome. And he's a good, he was a good inspiration, because he always, he was always turned up, knew his lines, and was great. And yeah, even now when I see him at events, he always comes over and has a good chat and all the rest of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, top fella.
He comes across as a bit of a character, is he?
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant, man, brilliant stuff. Also, I don't know if I should say it to you now, but well, I will, because we're doing this via Zoom, and basically you can't hit me. But I did have a bit of Tom Jones on pirate DVD as well.
Oh, right. I did. So I did a lot of comedy acting. I still love comedy now. It's probably one of my favorite things. And I loved acting in comedy. I'm a bit myself. I love people who can sort of laugh and laugh at life. And laugh.
Yeah, just not take things too seriously.
Yeah. That's why I love the Beatles so much. The Beatles always look like they're having such a laugh. They always laugh, giggling amongst themselves. So I loved that. So I did a bit of Tom Jones with Peter Watkins, who was, and Roger Evans, who acted with me in Svengali later as well. But Roger had been with me on Nuts and Bolts. We were kind of a bit of a double act together. I was kind of like tallish and slimish. He was shorter and squat. So we looked good together straight away, and then put us together as kind of like, in a comedy, especially the rhythm of how we talk. He was a Ron the boy. With the Gab. I was from Merthyr, and his great line was with the Scousers of Wales. So we were always having a bit of a rhythm of how we talk together, and I did that, and it did really well. He won a Welsh BAFTA for that.
That's fantastic.
So that did really well, and obviously I did Shameless, and what was great with Shameless, I played the gay policeman in Shameless, PC8. So in a bit like Nuts and Bolts, it's always Merthyr. If ever I go to Manchester or Liverpool, straight, hey, lad, are you the gay busy? I'm like, yeah. Can I have a photo with you, pal? I'm like, yeah. Can you grab hold of me? I'm like, yeah, of course I can. So I do. They know me from that, and that was great fun to do as well. Do you know what I mean? So I love doing comedy. That was my favorite thing to do, was comedy. Yeah. I like to laugh. I like making people laugh, and that's what I've given up acting, in the sense of I'm so busy with behind the scenes and directing now, and I'm sure we'll talk. That I can't. The only thing I would ever go back to doing again is I'd do a comedy if somebody wanted me. comedy. You know what I mean? I still get, bless them, requests now, but I've said, I'm okay. But I'm always up for a good comedy. That's why I really enjoy all the stuff that is done in Merthyr with, all the stuff that's done by Gurnwar and
quality.
They're all great. I just think there's a great sense of humour in Merthyr as a town. People are funny, and you've got to be sharp. And you know what? It's like an apprenticeship. You've got to go back to sharpen up. If I've been in London too long, or Nottingham, I'm serious. If I go back to Red, I'm a bit behind.
Out to your depth, son. Out to your depth.
You get Alex Ashman on you, and you've
crikey, Ashy, good old Ashy.
Rips you apart. You're done. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
what a legend of a boy.
Yeah, just funny. Because they're on you, like, and I remember being in there once at Christmas time. It was a funny story. My mates in London loved it.
Yeah.
And we were all going down to town. And they're all there, all the boys, Ashy, Dougie, Di Owls, Pills, they're all Macca, Stephen Hamlin, they're all there, right? So we're all getting to town. It's raining, pouring, classic Merthyr night. And I go like this, and as soon as I say Caiman, I go in the red. I go, boys, did we get in a cab down to town?
No, you didn't.
I go, any taxi numbers? And the boy goes, no. What was that? Taxi. And he goes, no. What was the word you just said? Cab. They went, cab. And that was it. They were on me. He wants a cab with 2 horses. It's funny. Oh, God. So they wouldn't let me alone all night. And it was just, I got the word wrong.
Yeah.
Stupid. I got the word wrong. And if I've got something on that's a little bit too London, or if I do something with money, or one time I tried to pay with a card, this is about 5 years ago, because I was in London, can I pay with a card? And I remember the guy going, no, we take money. Oh, yes.
Brilliant. It's the little things, isn't it? The little differences,
I love that, because what they do is they give you that beautiful grounding, they keep you rooted, and they make sure they let you know that you'll always be a Merthyr boy, you're always one of them.
Yeah, and they'll verbally kick your ass.
Oh, man, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Brilliant, man. So you mentioned Svengali.
Yeah.
How did that start? Did that started as a series, did it not?
It did, yeah. It was an online series on YouTube, the early days of YouTube. And me and Roger Evans, the lad who I'd acted with in Nuts and Bolts, and a bit of Tom Jones, great comedy actor, one of my favourite actors ever. And I'm lucky that I've acted with him. And he's still working now, and he's even like a drama teacher now and things like that. The top people. So he's one of the best out there. Great character actors, they say. And me and him just decided to film some stuff with a guy called Phil John and a guy called Dean Kavanagh. We decided to film some stuff in the streets of London, because we could only film in short bursts and put it on YouTube. It's not like now. You only upload 2 or 3 minutes. And the idea,
we can do what we like now, John. We're all right.
Yeah. And the idea was the boy from the Valleys, a boy from Mountain Ash, who was a postman, had gone to London to manage the next new big band. That was the idea. And we were going to try and persuade people from the music industry to be in it. And we could. By the second episode, we managed to get Alan McGee.
I was going to ask about Alan McGee,
And by the end, then we were getting like Carl Bratz from the Libertines, who were massive at the time, and all these amazing people to play themselves in it.
Awesome.
And it just went viral. It got thousands and thousands of views and likes, and it got made into a film by Universal in the end, which was incredible, really.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show what can happen from small acorns, as they say.
That's it. Yeah.
Grow the Heolgerrig forestry, but
indeed, Heolgerrig forestry, but the Heolgerrig forestry. So it got made into a film. It had a show in then in Bryn Mawr Cinema, was it?
So there was the oldest cinema in Wales. Was the
That's
premiere.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, there was premiere in London in Shoreditch, right, which is the trendiest cinema in London.
Yeah.
So I did do 2 for a laugh. So it was a super cool show in Shoreditch where the Terry Hall from the Specials DJ'd and all that. It was like, couldn't have been, it reeked of London. It was brilliant. So for the Wales film, we went, let's go to the oldest cinema in Bryn Mawr. Let's get a load of mods and a load of rockers outside and have a right laugh. And that's what we did.
Brilliant stuff. Brilliant. I was meant to go to that. Ryan McCarthy again. His name keeps popping up a lot. Right? He was one of my best buds.
Ryan,
Ryan, we dedicate this to you. There he is.
Oh, bless him. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, good stuff. But Ryan, we dedicate this one to you and to all absent friends. We dedicate this one too. But yeah, I was meant to go with Ryan, but it clashed with one of my wrestling dates.
Yeah.
So I didn't end up going. And I ended up, I'm going to do it again now. Sorry. I'm glad you can't reach through and hit me. I'll pay you. All right, I'll pay you. But I ended up watching it.
You're getting
there we are, man. We've got to look after each other. I ended up watching this. Someone sent me a link on the internet. So, but I did watch it, though. It was fantastic. But yeah, that was massive. That, like you say, it grew from nothing, a tiny seed, and like you said, into Heolgerrig forestry. So you must have been proud of that.
Yeah, it was brilliant, and that got me kind of like able to do the next, everything I've done up till now. Really, you get, if you make a film and it goes out and does all right, they ask you to do another one, and they trust you to do one more, and that's what kind of happened. Really, that was my way into like nuts and bolts was my way into TV. That was my way into film streaming.
Brilliant. So what came after that then?
Well, what happened then was I moved to Nottingham. I met Vicky McClure from Visiting here, and now she's Line of Duty. And there was a guy that was running beginning a new TV channel called Notts TV, and he had an idea to launch it with the story of Brian Clough and the great team that won the European Cup in the late 70s. It's an amazing story. So I said, he asked me if I wanted to do it. I moved to Nottingham. I said, yeah, I'll do it. And I said to him within about 2 weeks of doing it, I said, I think this is a bigger story. And he was like, okay. So I said, can I take it to the people I did Svengali with in London, the Universal people, and see if they could give me the money to make it into a feature film? And they did.
Wow.
And we made it. And it was the biggest grossing sports film at the UK box office in 2015. It did really, really well. And the DVD sold like hundreds of thousands of copies before that Christmas. Again, 7 years ago, DVDs still.
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, there was Netflix. I don't think it was even going there. So it sold really, really well, and it was a big, big success. That was even bigger than Svengali. So it kind of like it was the next jump up again, and that was fantastic. And then, of course, I finished that, and I was like, I'm gonna have a year now where I can have a bit of a think. And then the Wales had a fantastic tournament in 2016 in France for the Euros. So I came back. And they went, look, the Welsh FA said, can you make the film about the Euros? Don't take me home. So I went straight onto that.
Yeah, yes, I bloody can.
I know, yeah. I would have swam back for the entire week. So then I did that, and that did really well. And then I went on to that, to my trilogy of football films, a thing about three football managers, Steen, Shankly and Busby, called The Three Kings, which came out just this Christmas. It had about obviously the delay with COVID.
That pissed on a lot of things, didn't it?
Went out on Amazon. It's done really well on Amazon, so that's all right. So
brilliant.
I did 4 films in 6 years, which is quite busy time, really. Do you know what I mean? I'm knackering, but I managed to do it, and I'm glad I did. They say you've only got unless you get into the machinery of like Hollywood, for argument's sake, which I'm not interested in going over there. This doesn't bother me. I'm happy in this country. But if you get into the machinery of that, doing a film in Britain is knackering, and it's hard work because the things are getting smaller and things like that. But I've done 4. They've gone to cinemas, and I'm very happy with that.
Fantastic. That's a massive accomplishment and something to be super proud of,
Yeah.
Especially for a Merthyr boy, man. Come on, that's awesome.
And an Heolgerrig boy on top of that.
And a Heolgerrig boy on top of that, who used to play down the scram,
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Well, if anybody from Merthyr watch this, and anybody outside Merthyr, so you've got a bit of an idea. Obviously, me and Caiman and Merthyr boys, we're from a specific part of Merthyr called Heolgerrig, and just to explain to you, it's the posh part. We're the gentlemen of Merthyr.
Yeah, we're referred to as the poshies of Merthyr, aren't we?
Absolutely not. So, we have got that kind of like Heolgerrig boys. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah, look at us.
I'm from Heolgerrig, do you know what I mean? And my mate used to call it Bean Town from Toyn. I said, why do you call it Bean Town? He said, because the rates are so high, you can only afford to eat beans every day.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I couldn't afford to buy a house up there now. I've had to settle in Pendarren for the time being.
It's got a reputation, but has it still got that reputation? Heolgerrig has been a bit posh.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, definitely, 100%. Even more so now that I can't afford to get there,
Yeah.
Funny enough, my old house was up for sale the other day. I was like, oh, come on, this is so toned in. I'd so buy it if I could afford it, but it's
all control. Yeah, nice part of the well, love it.
Yeah, beautiful. It was lovely, and you've got all the hills just behind.
I know.
It's like now a lot of it's been dug up now, apparently. Yeah, but I think Trago bought all the land, didn't they? I think. But yeah, that's sad. Anyway, the playground has gone. The scram has gone now. The ducky is gone now. The donkey fart maze is gone now as well.
No.
What the hell? Yeah, it's not what it used to be.
Where do the kids play, Kane? Where can they go?
I don't know, brother. I don't know. It's not what it used to be, though. But like I say, yeah, I'm 42 now. Not my problem.
Okay, we're gone now. Do you know what I mean? That's
it, man. That's it.
I have a dream. I like you. I know it sounds ridiculous. I do want, Vicky laughs at me, I do want to buy a little place there one day when I retire, so I can spend, and especially if I can pick the weather.
Yeah.
So if you forecast, they go, there's 2 weeks of lovely weather. To be able to go down there for 2 weeks and just spend 2 weeks. Because if it rains, like, it's like everywhere, innit? But in the nice weather, I'd love to sort of just go over the red, walk back in the dark and the quiet.
Brilliant, man, brilliant. I used to do the little walk in the dark from Tydfil. I'd go over to Tydfil to get something from the shop.
Yeah.
back in the day, when I was 14, get something from the shop. And then I'd walk back, it'd be pitch black, and then I'd have to avoid the killer dogs and everything. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing to look back on now. I can never do that walk again because the scram is no longer there. Everything changes, doesn't it? As the generations move on, everything changes, and I don't know, a lot gets ruined.
Only thing that's certain in life and has changed is what's on the scram now? Have they built houses there or something then?
No, I think it's just wasteland at the moment, and there's just these big concrete pillars blocking it at the moment where our garage is. Either side of that. The garage was still there the last time I went for a look. But there's just these big like concrete, them little concrete tunnel things they turn up on their side, so no one can get there.
Stop kids going on there.
Yeah, pretty much. I could still get in there, John.
Yeah.
So if you're over and you fancy it, I'll get you over, bro.
Hey, mate, that sounds like a plan.
Let's do it. Oh, happy days. Up the red, wander up the wine, see if we can find any devil worshippers.
Do you know what we should do as well? We should hire bikes. We've got bikes the day and the night because we can go have a little bit of a cycle around then. Because that's the other thing of being from the South Wales valleys. You have to have a bike to get around. I mean,
totally.
You have to push you up the hills. Where you'd go down all right. Do you know what I mean? If you had a bike, it was half the battle.
Going down was awesome. A bike or a skateboard. Skateboarding uphill was a mission, I'll be honest. But I used to be a psychopath. I'd skateboard down Shirley Drive, standing up, down Shirley Drive to the post office. Oh my God, I can't imagine doing that now. That's
mental.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
We used to do this thing where we'd cycle to the top of what we call Aberdeen Mountain, and it was hilarious. You go to Aberdeen, they call it Merthyr Mountain.
Merthyr Mountain, yeah, that's right.
I don't know what point changes.
Same as the tunnel.
Yeah. So you go up to the top of Aberdeen Mountain, and you come down past the top swings, as we used to call them. Then Mayor Square and down.
Yeah.
But you just go all the way on a bike. You just go all the way down the hill.
Crazy. Yeah.
What was that
stuff? It was mad. I drove over that a while back in my 4x4. It was good stuff.
Yeah,
you are still with me, are you? Oh,
I had a Zoom request then.
So ignore him. But bigger, more pressing matters. Tell him. Exactly, for crying out loud. We've totally drifted though. One I forgot to mention. Do you remember Major's Field as well?
Yes.
That was the field on the Winch, which led you to Salisbury Close. And Romano. Do you remember Romano Provini?
I do. Yeah, good guitarist.
Yeah, brilliant guitarist. Me and him went there one day. I think we were about 11. I was about 11. He would have been about 9. We had a box of matches. I thought, oh, look, there's a bit of dry grass. Shall we light this? See if we get a fire going. So I lit it. Whole field went up. Fire engines, everything. And what you do then, you go back to the scene. What's happening? Yeah. Fire officers. Yeah. They knew what was going on. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely brilliant.
That was ridiculous that lads used to do that in a Heolgerrig. They'd start a fire with wine, ring the coppers, and then stand around putting their helmets on.
I know.
You started
it. Good days, man. Good days. And kids watching, don't play with matches. Don't start fires, you little bastards. So what are you up to at the moment? You're doing a bit on radio as well, talk radio. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm on Talk Sport on a Sunday. I got my own show called Jonny Owen and Friends. Does really, really well, which is brilliant. Just talking about football and sport and culture. I do the Times thing. I'm on the board at Nottingham Forest Football Club. I do some look after their media and stuff. In time, I'd like to come back and do something with Merthyr if I can. And making films. I'm probably going to look next year to start doing something else. I've had a bit of a break from the last one that's gone out. I don't know whether it'll be another football film. It might even be a drama or something. Me and Vicky have started a little company, got a bit of money from Sky to develop some stuff. So, yeah, really lucky, really, where I've ended up. 50 this year. Can't believe it, would do.
Are you?
Yeah.
Good 50, Lord.
I know. And I'm very happy with my life. Very lucky with where I come from. Great family, great friends, great area to grow up, great town to grow up. And, done all right, been a bit lucky here and there, but happy. Do you know what I mean? I ended up doing something I enjoy doing, which I think is half the battle. You know what I mean? I also want to. I really like Merthyr Rising.
Yes, brilliant.
I'd love to see that carrying on going and developing and getting bigger. I think that's got something. I believe whenever I come back, I really enjoy it. I think there's a good atmosphere there and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, and you know what? Funny thing, I want to spend, what COVID has done for me is, Vicky laughs at me, got a bit homesick properly for the first time. I've always been nervous about it, always go back, but properly gone like, I want to spend a bit more time down there as I'm getting older. I like saying to boys like yourself and that, and just going to the local pub and helping out in the local arts scene. I think what Merthyr does, and Merthyr's people, and they're like, we were talking earlier on about their humour and stuff. I just think they got a good thing going. You know,
definitely, bro.
Always looking to do something and do something interesting, and whether it be a band or a play or a book. And I love that. I think that's got to be encouraged, because I think that's the heart of the town in many ways.
Definitely. I think they thrive on the arts today, whether it's music, whether it's acting, whatever, you know, there's a big thing that is the heart of Merthyr, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Richard Harrington, who's a fine actor and done really well. You know, he's
Shirley Garden. Yeah.
It's like, you know, there's talent there, you know, and you know, some terrific bands have come to Merthyr, and I don't know what's happening with the Red House, you know, I don't know what's going on with that, but I like the idea of it. I like the idea of what that was trying to be, you know, and I hope that continues, and I hope when everybody gets back to it after COVID, there is a big renaissance of everybody trying to do as much stuff as they can, which I think will happen, because
I'm sure there will be. I think everyone's hungry.
Yeah, everybody busting, but you know,
definitely, like, I am definitely. I have a gig. We cancelled 19 gigs last year. We cancelled because of COVID. It's like, you know, and it's not about the money, because we get paid tap and save money. Do you know what I mean? Covers bands. Yeah. But I just want to get out there, have the crack. I want to get out there, watch other people's bands as well. Do you know what I mean? It's just a big community thing. But
totally with you, mate. Totally with you. I mean, that's what it's all about. You know, it's like it's so the town is like, you know, because it's a great town. You know, as we both know, and it's about sometimes it's about the image of the town. And you know, in life, there's an old saying in PR: he who speaks the first becomes the truth. And so when people slag Merthyr off, sometimes that can become the truth, and it's not the truth. So when you are telling stories about actors and bands and what other people are trying to do, that can become the truth instead. And I think that's what's important.
That's it, definitely. Highlight the good. You know what I mean? There's so much good here. Like Jeff Randall did a documentary, or an axe job, as I call it, a few years ago on Merthyr. Only in Merthyr, or a town like Merthyr, it was called, something like that. He handpicked the people off the side of the road that he wanted. I don't know whether he gave them anything for it or anything, but that's not, to me, a true representation of Merthyr. That's just a very small part of it, which, by the way, you get in the next town and the town after that and the town after that as well, you know?
Yeah, and that's all my point is. I'm not saying not to do it, but just be fair. Just be fair. I could find you 5 kids from Merthyr who in the last 2 or 3 years were picked to go to Oxford and Cambridge University. They would have gone from the comps in town. Why not interview them? Find out their story, what they've done, what they plan to do, why they came from Merthyr, and why they were able to achieve, you know, a wonderful thing by coming from Merthyr. That's a good story.
Exactly. Fantastic. Stories like that, or stories about the history, or the jobs which have come up here with the new retail park, the leisure complex, things like that, you know? Basically, don't be a bastard. Give us a break.
Summed up beautifully, mate.
Yeah, well, you know, I got away with words, John, you know, but all good. How's lockdown been for you anyway, man? I bet it's been a bit crazy in your house. You've got a proper showbiz house with yourself, your daughter, Vicky. You've all got things going on, you know. So have you got your own allocated Zoom areas, or do you just all have a fight for the area when the time comes?
I booked this tonight because it's very Vicky's in the kitchen doing it. I booked it before her, but no, it's been.
Send my apologies, won't you?
Yeah, well, yeah. I think you know, obviously what's happened has to be put into context, and at the front of that has to be the fact that lots of people lost loved ones, and it's been a tough time. For me personally, I've been lucky, and I've done the radio show, and I've got the column, and I finished the film off, so I had things to do. And I think, you know, if there's anything that I could gain from it positively, I think that it's given me a thirst to go back to it and to try and give everything I possibly can. And like I've just been saying, I thought myself, I want to try and do some more stuff in Merthyr if I possibly can as well, something from back home. So I think it's been a time when, you know, people can take stock, can't they? Have a bit of a breather, grow a beard, you know.
Hey. Grow a beard, shave a beard, grow a beard.
Well, you know, and also, like, you know, I've noticed yourself, you know, you've done a bit of painting and stuff, and it's done really well. And people have done, you know, maybe tried things they wouldn't have tried before, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, that's it.
that can be only a good thing. And like you said, I just hope that when we all get back to it, everybody goes back to it with full throttle.
Yeah.
Going up the wall of death, they give it full throttle.
That's it. Yeah, full throttle. Don't ease off that mofo. Pull it back and commit. That's exactly the key word we decided. Commit.
Exactly. What about you? Have you made of lockdown? Have you been all right with it? Or
at first, I'll be honest with you, I didn't think I'd last the test of time. I thought because I was on my own. I got a lovely girlfriend now, Amy. Shout out to you. But I was on my own at first. I was stuck in four walls on my own. You know me as well, John. I'm a very much outy kind of person, not an inny kind of person. I just use my home to sleep in normally, But like you say, after time then I started writing songs. I picked up the guitar a bit more, started playing on that a bit. I started painting. I painted Janet Street Porter in the nude. The question is, did she pose for me or was it from my mind? That's something for you guys to ponder over. I have asked her to come on and we can discuss it face to face, but she hasn't got back to me yet. And also recently then I just thought I'm bored out of my skull. I want to talk to some people. So I've started doing this as well, which I am thoroughly enjoying. It's just like two mates, two Merthyr boys, you're having a natter now, which is fantastic.
You're an absolute natural of this. Genuinely unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? You're like, I've been on some of the most well-known podcasts that are, and you're as good, if not better, because you're asking me more interesting questions. But it's great. I mean, you've got a natural talent for it. So brilliant. I'm really proud of you, mate.
Nice one, brother. That means a lot. Thank you very much. I'm just asking you what I want to know, to be honest, John. So and what I think people will want to know. So all good. But I'm enjoying it. So fantastic stuff. But in answer to your question, lockdown, got through it. I've learned how to get through it. I think if it happened again in time, I've learned a lot from the experience,
Yeah, I feel the same. I think a lot of people have as well. It's a great way of putting it.
Definitely. And I've learned not to take those little things for granted as well, which I always did,
Yeah.
Like a pint at the Red Lion. How nice would that be?
I mean, it's really interesting you should say that, and brilliant, because I feel the same. That I've realised how important that is, because everything that comes with it, the social interaction, a bit of fun, having a laugh, being able to, and just unwinding, all those things that come with that. I think of everything I've discovered, I just realised how important pubs are, public housing.
They are. And I don't just mean for getting sloshed, though. Like you say, everything around it, everything that comes with it, You can walk into a pub on your own, see someone you've never seen before in your life, talk to them by the bar, have a good giggle, talk about, the football, the rugby, whatever, and it's great,
It's beautiful. I always say this story to people. They always laugh. I always go, London, where I lived a long time, in Merthyr, are the spectrum opposites.
I can imagine.
Walk into a bar in London, and the only person you will speak to in London is the barman, and if you sit down, Merthyr would not be left alone in a beautiful way. They are wonderfully nosy bastards. If you walk in any Merthyr, they'd go, all right, Matt, how are you? So I always think that's the two examples of the spectrum opposite. Merthyr for a pint and London for a pint. Merthyr, you've got to be prepared to sit down and have a chat to somebody. That's going to happen.
Absolutely. And if a Merthyr boy steps out of the bubble and goes to London, don't expect it.
Don't ask for a cab. Do not ask
it. Unless in London. You're all right in London.
Exactly.
John, it's been an absolute pleasure, brother. So one more thing I want to ask, but is it true that you were a boxing champion as a lad?
I won the Welsh Boys Club boxing championships in about 1984, I think. I was very lucky. I boxed in the Troy Drew gym, as it was called then. It was two gyms in Merthyr. There was Troy Drew down the south of the town, and then it was Triiva, which is up in Pendarren, I think.
Yeah.
Both great gyms. And the Troy Drew gym was run by Gareth Donovan, who was really well known in the town. And Ivor Winstone was a relation of the great Howard. I had Welsh champions and British champions galore in that gym. And I mean, I was boxing at the same time as people like Stevie Sutton, Brian Newman, Jason Howells, who were fine boxers.
Jason Howells, I trained with Jason Howells in the slaughterhouse for a little bit.
And I was all right, and I got to a point where I remember I can literally remember getting punched by somebody very good, and my brain going, "He's really good."
That'll do it. Yeah.
This is a different ball game. So those boys were brilliant, and I think what they did was, because they were sparring with really good boxers, that they can drag your level up as well. So the gym was exceptional for producing those kind of people. But what's really lovely is I'm still mates with them. We still speak. We still communicate, and they find little videos of me and they put it up. And
brilliant.
And there's a Facebook page there, so it's something that's very close to my heart. And you know, I try to see Gareth, my old trainer, when I can, and I try to pop along to the gym. So it's been a big part of my life. And again, talking about Merthyr, my father, I say, give me a little bit of discipline. You know, I still go on the bike twice a week. I still do a little bit of training when I can. It just kept me in that kind of idea and shape because of what I did then. So God bless him for having me in the gym.
Good man, good man. Do you ever come across Shirley at all on your travels?
Yes, I know Shirley really well.
Yeah.
He was boxing a bit later than me with Gareth. And he was big in the slaughterhouse and all the rest of it. But
that's right.
And obviously, I remember when the doors of the town. Great lad, great character. Did a lot. I know Warren really well as well.
Yeah, Warren. God, I'm a massive Cardiff City fan. Yeah.
Yeah. Holt and Bass and all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
And I tell you what, Shirley. There weren't many that messed with Shirley on the doors. Let me tell you.
No.
His name was perfect for somebody you wouldn't want to mess with.
Absolutely. Great. Did you ever hear about the time I nearly knocked him out up the mountain in a charity boxing brawl?
Did you? Oh, no. Did he say that in his book? Did he mention it?
Yeah, it's in his book. Yeah. Brilliant. That's my story. There's also the true story. All right. So we did have a charity boxing brawl. All right. I'll just leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
Yeah.
There's a bit of black and white footage of him on the internet where he's in the doorway. Have you seen him? And somebody turns up.
Yeah.
And
I know it. I know the script for this one. Where's my boys? What boys? Yeah. You know what effing boys. Goes to come in and then it's like, oh,
good shape as well.
Yeah.
Big lads, you can see, he can dig, and there's only going to be one winner there.
That's it. Always. Trust me. When I boxed him up the mountain, the deal was for Movember. I think I had to get to like £1,000 was my milestone, and I do these video milestones. I don't know if you remember, and every time I get to a certain amount. But this one the deal was I got to last 3 minutes with former Welsh boxing champion Anthony Thomas, aka Shirley. So I lasted the 3 minutes, but honest to God, John, I think he hit me 3 times and dropped me 4 times. Do you know what I mean? That's how hard they were. He was just toying with me, to be honest. But it was good. It was a good thing for the charity Movember that we did. That Ryan, again, he's popped up again, dedicating this one to you, was a massive advocate for because of his uncle Stuart who passed from it. And we raised a lot of money for it. So it was
I just one more story about Shirley. I can tell you, and Warren.
Go on, let's have it.
When I filmed Svengali, I was like, I'll try and get you in it. Just do a little line each for both Bass. Brilliant. So they did the line and they were great, actually.
Yeah.
So anyway, film gets shot, made, and then when it goes to the end, it's obviously Universal put it all together and all that. But you got no say over it. And they cut them because they were like going, we had to shorten the top. And I was in this Universal and they're going, what do you mean you cut them? And they were going, they're not in it anymore. And I was going, I was like, I was going, they're my mates and they're hard as fuck as well.
Yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah, Universal was going, you got a big film going out on cinemas. I'm there going, oh no.
I could never drink in Merthyr again.
Yeah. But they were all right about it. They understood and all the rest of it. But
they got it. It's not your fault, like you said. But
he mentioned it in his book as well. I was like, oh, sorry, sure.
It rings a bell. It does ring a bell. I think I've read it.
But I love him. He's a great man. I have to make
great. They both are good boys, man.
I'm gonna have to get him in something instead of something I'm directing this time.
Yeah, there we are. Yeah. Man, get him on. And don't forget little old me as well, John.
I know, yeah, exactly. Hold on. Do you remember we did that fight up the mountain? Only with the stunt
Yeah. Brilliant stuff, man. Brilliant. All right. My man, I will leave you to it. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you.
Loved it.
We must hook up at the Red Lion for that pint when COVID allows us to do so when you're in town, all right?
Definitely,
that sounds like a plan. You look after yourself and your family, and I look forward to speaking to you soon, brother.
Top man, and well done, Caiman. Really proud of you, mate. They're brilliant.
Nice one, brother. Back at you. Boom.
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra, bro.
Bye-bye.